Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A hold-up man has robbed the owner of a neighborhood grocery store. The victim has been beaten unmercifully with a sawed-off shotgun. The assailant has escaped into the city without a trace. Your job, find him. Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, February 18th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detective Thad Brown. My name's Friday. The office had called me at 3:46 a.m. By the time I got dressed and out in front of my apartment, it was 3:59 a.m. Frank was there waiting to pick me up.
What's the best way to get there?
Down the freeway, I guess, and cut over on the Liso, huh?
All right. Who called you, the hospital or the office?
The office said that Bailey had regained consciousness. We might be able to talk to him now.
The rain's going to slow us down.
Well, I'd better use the light and siren, Frank. We may not have much time.
Huh?
The way the skipper put it to me on the phone.
Yeah?
They still don't know if Bailey's going to live. Raymond Bailey was 62 years old. He owned and operated a small neighborhood grocery store on the corner of Whitman and Beacon Street. 2 days before, on Monday night, a man had entered the store and at the point of a sawed-off shotgun had robbed Bailey. After emptying the cash register and his safe, he slugged the elderly man with the barrel of the gun and he fled. Bailey had been rushed to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital and then transferred to the county hospital for treatment. For the past 2 days, he'd been under heavy sedatives and he'd been in a coma. He was suffering from a skull fracture, cuts, and bruises. His condition was listed as critical, and we left word to be called the minute he regained consciousness. 4:26 a.m. We got to the hospital. We went up to the 4th floor. We met and talked with the doctor who'd been taking care of Bailey. He told us that the patient had just been given another shot to ease the pain and that he'd probably drop off to sleep. We went into the hospital room and walked over to the side of the bed. It was a few minutes before the old man started to talk.
I'll tell you what I remember. All seemed kind of far away, like I read about it in a book. Not like it really happened to me.
All right, sir, if you just tell it in your own words if you can.
What time is it?
It's 4:45, Mr. Bailey.
Who's that?
I'm Frank Smith.
Oh, you a policeman, too?
Yes, sir.
Oh, 4:45, huh? That day or night?
It's in the morning, sir.
I sure have been out.
If you tell us what happened, sir.
How many of you are there in here?
We're just the two of us.
Way they got my head all bended, can't see. Say, officer.
Yes, sir?
Doctor said this is Wednesday. Is that true?
Yes, sir, that's right. Wednesday the 18th.
I can't figure where the time's gone. It can't be Wednesday. Why do you have to agree with him? Why don't you tell me for true?
Well, sir, you've been asleep for a couple of days.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Been pretty sick, huh?
That's what they tell us.
Mm-hmm. Seems like every time I turn around and give me another shot. Takes the pain away, but makes everything seem far away, like nothing was really happening to me.
Yes, sir, we understand. Think you could go on with the story?
Yeah. This fella came in Monday night. It was raining. Wasn't much business. I was figuring on closing when he came in. Took one of the carts and started to pick up stuff off the counter.
Yes, sir.
Well, the fella picked up a lot of stuff. Had a shopping bag with him, hung it on the cart. I figured that I'd have to check the bag when he got the check stand. We had a lot of shoplifting lately.
I see.
Well, after he looked the store over, he came up to the check stand. I checked out the stuff he had. Came to over $5. Picked out all kinds of things, most of them imported.
I see. These were all groceries, were they?
Yes, sir. I had the stuff, and it come to a little over $5. Oh, I got exactly how much. A little over $5.
All right, sir.
After I got everything all totaled up, well, I asked him if I could put it in the shopping bag for him. I didn't want to come right out and ask to see in it. After all, he might just moved in the neighborhood. And I haven't got that many regulars that I can insult him.
Yes, sir.
That's when he pulled the gun. Pulled it right out of the shopping bag.
Now, you saw that it was a shotgun, did you?
Yes, sir. The barrel was sharp. I guess it'd been sawed off.
Mm-hmm.
He pointed at me and told me to give him the money in the cash register.
All right, sir.
And then he told me to lay down on the floor and stay there for 5 minutes and not to move.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to do it. I wasn't going to give him any trouble. Money doesn't mean that much to me. You get to be my age, 62, and it's more important in your lives than how much money you got. Yes, sir. A lot more important.
Yes, sir.
Well, I was just going to do like you said when Mrs. Colton came into the store. She's one of my regular customers, you know.
I see.
She saw the fellow with the gun, and she let out a scream. I tried to tell her to keep quiet, but before I could say much of anything, the fellow turned around and hit me with a gun. Oh, I say, hit me just about as hard as he could. I kind of remember the sirens coming, but after that, it's kind of hazy. Like it didn't really happen to me, like I read about it.
I see, sir. Now, can you tell us what the man looked like?
Yes, I guess I can. A bit before I do, though,
Yes, sir.
would you tell me what time it really is?
Right now it's 4:50, Mr. Bailey. 4:50 a.m.
Wednesday morning?
Yes, sir, that's right.
I don't think it's very nice, you fellas, play a joke like this on the old man. Seems like you could be honest. If I had my watch, I could tell myself.
Well, we're telling you the truth about the time, Mr. Bailey. 4:50.
All right, then you have your little joke, but I don't think it's funny at all.
Now, sir, can you tell us how old the man was?
About 24, 26.
I see. How tall was he?
Tall as me. I can remember because I could look right over straight at him. That'd make him 5 and 8. Yeah, right about that.
Was he heavy or slight?
I couldn't tell too well. He had a big overcoat on.
How about his coloring, his complexion?
Oh, he's dark complected, had dark eyes.
Do you remember what the color of his hair was?
Well, I could just see at the temples. It was black. Yeah. He had this hat on, hat pulled down.
Uh-huh. Was he clean shaven?
Yes, he was.
I'm sorry to have to ask you all these questions, but we have to get to the bottom of this. Did he have any marks or scars?
Yes, sir. He had a little mole on the side of his nose. Just a small little one.
On which side of his nose, would you remember?
Well, when he was facing me, it was on the left, so that'd be on his right. Yes, that's right, on the right side.
I hope we're not tiring you too much, but was there anything different about the way he talked? An accent, something like that?
No. Say, how about the things he picked up? You get any fingerprints from him?
No, sir. He must have taken all the groceries with him. Would you know the man if you saw him again, Mr. Bailey?
You just bet I would. I'd remember that face till my dying day. I won't ever forget it.
Think you've ever seen this man before?
No, sir, never did.
Would you know if he drove a car?
Well, I don't think so. He was so wet when he come in. He must have walked a ways. And like I said, his shoulders were just soaking wet.
Yes, sir. We'd like to have you look at some pictures when you feel a little better, Mr. Bailey.
You just bring them on. You got a picture of that young hoodlum, I'll know it.
All right, sir. We're going to have to come back and see you. You ought to try to get some sleep now. We appreciate your cooperation here.
Well, I suppose I should. Last couple of minutes, you fellas been getting a little further away from me. Seems like none of this is happening to me, just like I'm dreaming it.
Oh, we'll be back to see you, sir. Is there anything you need?
No, sir, not a thing.
All right, fine. Thanks very much, and you get some rest now.
Yeah, I'll try. Hey, one thing you could do for me.
What's that, sir?
Would you ask the nurse to come by? I think the joke is funny, but you fellas carried it on too far. I'd like to know what time it really is.
All right, Mr. Bailey. We'll send her in.
Thank you.
Goodbye, sir.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
nurse?
Yes.
What if you check Mr. Bailey in there? He'd like to know what time it is.
He's been asking the same question the last 2 days. He won't seem to believe any of us.
Uh-huh. Would you know where you could find Dr. Cardell?
Yes, sir, just down the hall, 2 doors past the turn.
Thank you very much. I'd like to find out when we'd be able to look at those mug shots.
Yeah, it's got a good description.
It'll make it easier.
Yeah.
I guess this is it.
2 doors past the turn.
Yeah. Come in. Sorry to bother you again, Doctor.
That's all right. What can I do for you?
We were wondering when it would be possible for Mr. Bailey to look at some pictures for us. I mean, when he's well enough.
Well, with the way he's been reacting to treatment, he'll live.
Yes, sir.
But you saw the bandage.
Yes, sir.
He's totally blind.
5:10 a.m. We got to the city hall. We got out a supplementary broadcast and an APB carrying the description of the suspect. We asked the staff's office to make a run for us on the information the victim of the holdup had given us. They said they'd be able to give us a list of possibles by 10:30 that morning. We checked through the oddity file to see if there might be something in the records on the small mole on the suspect's nose. There were several cards turned over to us, but none of them matched the rest of the description that we had. 6:30 a.m. We went across the street, we had breakfast, and then we came back to the office and put in a call to the hospital to check on Bailey. The doctor told us that he was sleeping comfortably and he appeared to be past the critical point. For the next hour, Frank and I checked through the mug books to see if there were any recent parolees who matched the description that we had. We came up with nothing that would help us in getting an identification of the suspect. The woman customer of the store mentioned by Bailey in his report of the crime had been questioned thoroughly, but she was unable to give us any additional information on the holdup man. She was unable to give us a concrete description of the thief. She'd been shown the mug books, but after looking at them, she stated that she was more confused than she had been before seeing them. She also told us about the suspect's black overcoat. She said that while the shoulders looked quite wet from the rain, the rest of the garment appeared to be dry. 10:30 a.m., we got the results of the run from the stats office. There were 17 names on the list. All men matched the description of the suspect and had at one time or another used the same M.O. used in holding up Bailey. It took us 2 days to check them out, and at the end of 48 hours, we were no nearer apprehending the thief than we had been before. 7:58 a.m. Saturday morning. I checked in for work.
Hi, Joe.
Morning, Frank. It's one of the best investments I ever made.
Huh?
The trench coat. Sure give me a lot of wear.
Well, if you only used it this week, you've gotten your money's worth.
Yeah. Sure is the answer to the rain question, though.
I've been wearing that plastic coat of mine so long, I'm beginning to feel like a package of frozen food.
Yeah, you look like it, too.
Yeah.
Anything in the book?
No. I talked to Stoner this morning, thought that maybe he had something for us.
What's that?
Well, I picked up a kid down on 7th yesterday. Tried to heist a liquor store. Manager pulled a gun and held him. Stoner answered the call. But at first, it might be the guy we're looking for.
Didn't check out, though, huh?
No. Kid just got in town yesterday morning, broke and hungry.
You know, I got to thinking about that Bailey thing last night.
Yeah?
Or what he said about the suspect's coat.
What do you mean?
Well, you remember that Bailey said the guy didn't look very wet, just the shoulders on the coat.
Well, no, Joe. Bailey didn't say exactly that. He said the shoulders on the coat looked wet, but it was that woman customer we talked to, that Mrs. Colton. She's the one that told us the coat looked dry except the shoulders.
Yeah, well, that's the point I'm trying to make. I don't remember who said it. But if just his shoulders were wet, the way the rain was coming down out there, he couldn't have walked far and come in out of it that dry, could he?
No. There's no bus or streetcar lines within 6 blocks of Bailey's store.
We know he doesn't live close to the store. He had to come in a car.
Nobody saw one, though.
Well,
Yeah. Well, it's happened before. I guess it's the same thing you're thinking, huh?
well,
Could have took a cab.
maybe.
Well, let's run it down.
Better than standing still. There are 22 taxi cab companies listed in the phone directory, all serving the downtown Los Angeles area. Each of these companies may have from 6 to several hundred cabs in service at any given time. Each driver might make as many as 6 trips an hour. In wet weather, the cab traffic is almost double that of any normal day. As a result of the number of possibilities, Frank and I spent the next week going through driver's waybills, checking for a cab that dropped off a customer near the corner of Virgil Avenue and Bimini Place at approximately 9:30 p.m. on the date of the robbery. After checking the reports, we came up with one trip that looked good. A driver had picked up a passenger at the corner of Mariposa and Wilshire Boulevard and had dropped him 1 block from Bailey's store, waited for him, and then driven him downtown. We checked with the traffic manager of the cab company, and we found that the driver could be located at a cab stand out on Wilshire Boulevard. Frank and I drove out to see him. We gave him the description of the suspect and asked if he'd ever seen anybody who matched it.
Yeah, I remember him. A little guy. I picked him up out on Wilshire. I remember because he wanted out on a corner.
I thought it was funny that he didn't want me to let him out in front of wherever it was he was going.
Did you wait for him?
Yeah, he gave me a sawbuck and said for me to wait. I dropped the flag, and, I guess it was about a half an hour later, he came running back to the cab. Jumped in, told me to take him down to First and Spring. Let him out there. Remember him pretty good now. Had a big shopping bag.
I see. Do you know where he went when he got out of your cab out on Bimini?
No, I think it was an apartment out there. The way the rain was coming down, I didn't stick my head out to watch him.
How about when you dropped him off downtown? You see where he went then?
No.
You think you'd know this man if you ever saw him again?
I'm not sure. He wore his hat kind of down over his face, dark in the back of the cab. Might know him, and maybe I wouldn't.
I'd have you come downtown and look at some pictures if you would, see if you can spot him for us.
Sure, I got to get cleared through the dispatcher first.
That's all right. We'll take care of that.
Hey, what's this guy done? Something pretty bad, huh?
Well, we want to talk to him.
Going to a lot of trouble just to talk to the guy. Come on, you can tell me. I won't spread it around. What's the beat? What's he done, huh?
It'll be a little better if we talk to him about it.
Okay. That's the way you want to play it. I don't want to get nosy.
I'll get you cleared with the dispatcher.
Okay.
I'd like to have you show us the apartment you think the man might have gone into, if you would.
Oh, sure. Glad to do anything I can to help. Oh, say about those pictures.
Yeah.
Sure was dark that night. I hope I can point them out.
Yes, so do we. We took the cab driver downtown, and he went through the mug books, but he was unable to come up with an identification. The neighborhoods where he'd picked up the suspect and where he dropped him off were checked. None of the people in the vicinity could tell us anything. The usual channels of information were checked, but they yielded no new information. It had been 10 days since the holdup, and we were no nearer to finding the suspect than we'd been the day after the robbery. Another week passed without result. The thief had dropped from sight. We still had no idea where he was. On Tuesday, March 10th, we got the answer. Hot shot, I'll get it. Anything? Yeah, he just hit again. The description of the M.O. the thief had used was the same as he'd employed in holding up Bailey. During the following 3 days, he hit 3 more times. Each time he got away without a trace. From the information we were able to get, it became apparent that he was using taxicabs to get to and from the scene of the holdup. We checked the cab companies and got their full cooperation. They agreed to help us as much as they could, but explained that with the tremendous volume of business that they handled each day, it would be almost impossible to check every passenger that the drivers carried. We got out printed descriptions of the suspect, giving detailed information of the hat and the coat that he wore, the shopping bag that he carried, and the fact that he asked the drivers to wait for him. Another week passed without result. The bandit had stopped operating. Thursday, March 19th, 3 additional teams of men were assigned to the case, and a rolling stakeout was set up in the general area where the holdup man had been working. Additional cars were planted at the cab stands along Wilshire Boulevard and in the vicinity of First and Spring Street. Another 2 days passed. On Thursday, March 21st, Frank and I were sitting in our car, staked out at the cab stand at the corner of Wilshire and Leeward, 8:46 p.m.
That looks like it's going to rain again.
Well, these clouds have been moving in all afternoon. Pretty black, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're cold, too.
Mm-hmm.
Attention all units. All units. 964 Eldon Place, 211 Code 3. All units in the vicinity of 964 Eldon Place, 211 Code 3.
Let's go. Right. Couple blocks over. Yeah. Well, this is 9400. Should be 2 blocks down from here. Right. Better hold it. There's a cab headed this way. You see who's in it? No, he's pulling over the other side. I'll take a look. Yeah, might be. You want to check it? Yeah. All right, I'll swing around. The cab's taking off, you see? Yeah, he's up ahead, just turning off on Wilshire, Tim. Yeah, I hope we don't lose him. There's only one man in the back seat. Get a good look at him when we pass? Not too good, no. Hat's pulled down, that's about all. See him? Yeah, there he is, up ahead. Yeah, probably pulled a gun on the driver. All right, stick to him now. Yeah. It looks like he's headed for MacArthur Park. Well, turn right. Yeah. There's the cab. Come on, pull up. Come on. I couldn't stop. He said he'd kill me if I did. He had the gun pointing right at me. You see where he went? Yeah, he ran over there in the park. Good, I'll check it. I didn't know what it was all about. He said if I didn't keep driving, he'd kill me. That's all right. You stay here. I'll be right back. Yeah, sure. Joe? Yeah. You see him? No, he got away. Maybe we got something to go on. Yeah? He dropped his shotgun.
A blockade of MacArthur Park was ordered. The surrounding streets were checked, but apparently the suspect had made good his escape. The crime lab crew was called, and they came out and went over the cab for physical evidence. In the back seat of the cab, we found the shopping bag that the thief had carried. It was a plain brown paper bag with heavy cord handles. There was no way of tracing it. In the bottom of the bag, under several cans of food, there was a sales slip with a penciled notation. One of the prices that had been rung up had apparently been wrong, and after the total had been made, a credit to the customer had been deducted. There was no market name on the slip and no address, just a penciled notation. The shotgun and the cans of food were checked for fingerprints, but those that were found were so badly smudged that they were useless. The serial number was checked with gun records, and we found out that the gun had been reported stolen 3 months previously. We went out and talked to the man who'd made the report, but he couldn't help us. Lieutenant Lee Jones made photographs of the serrated edge of the sawed-off barrels, and they were booked as evidence. We checked at the store that had been robbed, but they told us that the sales slip wasn't theirs. Monday, March 23rd, we started out to find the store that had made out the slip. We checked all of the smaller grocery stores in the area where most of the cabs had been picked up. It took us the better part of 3 days. On Wednesday afternoon, we stopped at a small delicatessen at the corner of 3rd and Leeward Street. The manager there told us that he didn't recognize the slip, but he said that it could have come from their cash register. He asked us to wait while he called his wife. She came over to the store, and we showed her the receipt.
Yeah, that's one I made out. The customer bought 4 cans of tomato sauce, and I made a mistake on the register. I overcharged him a penny on each can. He noticed that he made quite a scene. It was pretty embarrassing. I apologized. I gave him a credit.
Do you know the man?
Well, he comes in quite often, once, twice a week.
Does he live in the neighborhood, would you know?
No, I can't tell you that. He just comes in and he leaves.
Do you know his name?
No, I don't.
He drive a car?
I've never seen him in a car. He usually walks in, gets what he wants, and then walks out.
You ever come in with anybody else?
No, he's always alone.
And you don't know if he lives around here, huh?
Well, I told you no. What's he done? What's this all about?
We want to talk to him, ma'am. When do you think he'll be back?
Well, let's see. This is Thursday. Might be in this evening, maybe tomorrow.
What time do you usually come in?
Mostly in the late afternoon or early evening. Is there something I can do? Do you have a message I could give him?
No, ma'am. We'll give it to him.
We called the office and told them where we were. Sergeants Murphy and Rafferty were sent out to help us cover the place. They'd stopped by the business office and brought out 2 shotguns for us. Frank and I checked the small store for someplace to stake out. The only place we could find where we could keep the entire store under observation and yet not be seen ourselves was on top of one of the large refrigerators that held frozen foods and dairy products. Murphy and Rafferty took up their positions outside of the store, and we waited. At 5:30, it started to rain again. There was no sign of the suspect. 7 p.m., 8 p.m., still no sign of him, and the rain got heavier. 8:30, 9 p.m.
Oh, every time this thing switches on, it feels like the dentist is working on the teeth. There's not much room up here.
Don't shove me off.
Yeah, there just isn't one.
What's that?
Well, there just isn't any way a man can lay on top of an icebox and be comfortable.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Glad to see you back.
Huh?
I thought you might be mad about me overcharging you the other day. But you...
No, just a couple of can things. I can get them.
You're cleaning.
Yeah.
Looks good. Yeah. Wheelie comes over this way. We'll jump in then.
Right.
All right, now.
Hey, what's going on?
Watch it, Joe.
Let's go. There he goes. My police officer, hold it up. He isn't going to stop, Joe.
You see Murph and Rafferty?
Yeah, they're across the street.
Looks like he's going in that apartment. Come on. I take it easy. He should be in there.
He is.
All right, cover me.
Right. All right, give it up, mister.
Get away from me, cop. You come after me, I'll kill you.
Go on downstairs. You're going to save yourself a lot of trouble. You okay, Joe?
Yeah. He's still alive. You want to call the ambulance?
Yeah. Who told you?
Who tipped you off?
You did.
I never talked in my life. I wasn't even worried.
You were once, fella.
What about?
4 cents.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent. On July 16th, trial was held in Department 96, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial. Earl Russell Craig was tried and convicted on 3 counts of robbery in the first degree and 1 count of assault with a deadly weapon. Robbery in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not less than 5 years. Assault with a deadly weapon is punishable by imprisonment for a period not to exceed 10 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, this week in Detroit, a group of men are gathered for the 60th annual conference of the International Association of Chiefs of Police. Dragnet sends best wishes to the top law enforcement officers in the nation and thanks them for the protection they daily give to our homes and families. May this conference be the best one they've ever had.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Ralph Moody, Lillian Baeff, Jack Crucian. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield. Low in nicotine, highest in quality, best for you. Chesterfield brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to auto theft detail. You get a call from the owner of a used car lot. He tells you he thinks he bought a stolen car. Your job, check it out.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, May 4th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of auto theft detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Nelson. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 7:56 a.m. when I got to room 40. Auto theft.
That you, Joe?
Yeah.
Hi.
When'd you get in?
Oh, about 7:30. I woke up at 5. I couldn't get back to sleep.
What's the matter?
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. I don't think I could lift a pencil to make out a report today.
All right, what happened?
Baseball.
Baseball.
Yeah. I tell you something, Joe. I found it out yesterday. I ain't no Chuck Stevens.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yesterday morning, I got up early. Going to do a little work in the garden. It was a beautiful day, you know. Felt real great.
Uh-huh.
I got out in the backyard. I'll take it easy. Listen to the ball game, you know. Easy day.
Yeah.
And about 10, that guy next door, Neil Radcliffe, came over.
That's the fellow of the fire department, isn't it?
No, Joe, that's Bud Hendricks in the fire department. Neil works for an insurance company.
Yeah.
Well, Neil's company is going to sponsor a team in the Little League. You know, kids' baseball team.
Mm-hmm. I think I read something about that in the papers, didn't I?
Yeah. Of course you did. They're pretty good, too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Neil's got sort of a tryout yesterday, lined up for his team. Practice, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted me to umpire.
Do you know anything about being an umpire?
Well, Joe, sure I do. And besides, Neil figured since I'm a policeman, the kids will believe me. He had a little trouble with him himself last week.
I thought you had to go to some sort of a school to be an umpire.
Well, Joe, you do for the regular leagues, but this was just a practice game. Neil's team and some kids in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I told him, sure, I'd do it. I changed my clothes, went out to park with him. You know, I thought it might be good public relations for the police department. You know what they tell us.
Being an umpire would be good public relations, huh?
Well, Joe, the bulletins say get out, get around the neighborhood, know your friends and their kids.
All right, go ahead.
Joe, those kids are on the wrong league.
What do you mean?
They're murderers.
How's that?
The way they play the game, baseball. I never saw such ball.
Is that a fact?
Yeah. I figured, softball, underhands, kids pitching, be easy to call.
Mm-hmm.
So it's regulation hardball. Just like that. Bases are a little closer, but it's just like the big leagues and the way those kids throw the ball. A couple of times, I thought they were just kidding. I'd hear this thump, never see the ball. Thought the kid catcher would just hit in his hand, his glove, And all of a sudden he'd turn around, and there it'd be right in his mitt.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
how'd you get so sore if you just umpired the game? You stood in one place, didn't you?
while I was up in the game, yeah, but this team of Neil's was skunking the other kids so bad that we had a little reorganization.
What do you mean, reorganization?
Well, the end of the second inning, the score was 14-2, and I thought that was a little unfair to the neighborhood kids.
Being the umpire, you certainly had the right to think it was unfair.
Well, I got out and I told them what I thought, so I decided to play first base for him.
You what?
I played first base for him.
With all those kids?
Sure. Fun. I played 5 straight innings.
That's what I was just going to ask you.
Yeah. Finally, I had to quit. Could hardly move. Didn't seem to make any difference where I was, Joe. Those kids weren't there. They just ran me ragged.
Yeah, well, maybe you better take it a little easy today, huh? Would you like the day off?
No, not the day off, Joe, but, I'll take it easy. Faye rubbed liniment on my back all night. All over my arms and legs. Man, I'm sore. It even hurt to get dressed this morning.
Mm-hmm. So what was the final score, anyway?
Well, at the end of the second inning, it was 14-2 in favor of the Little Saints.
You told me all that.
Neil's team.
14-2. You got in the game and played. What did it end up with?
I didn't even get one hit.
You didn't?
No. 3 times the bat, didn't even get a hit.
Yeah, well, that's too bad. What was the final score of the game? Did you hear me? The final score of the game?
Oh.
Not the original score, but after you played 5 innings, what was the score, the total? I was just curious to know.
Yeah. 46-12. When I left. That was at the end of the 7th. The Little Saints were up when I left.
That was the other team's favor.
Mm-hmm.
The team you weren't playing on.
Joe, don't rub it in. The other team had run through their batting lineup twice. The way they were going, I think they were going to have to call the game on account of darkness. They'd been up for over an hour. Only 1 out.
They sound pretty good.
Well, they may sound pretty good to you, but they're murderers. Joe, those kids grew up. There isn't going to be a ball club in the country that's going to have a chance against them. I never saw anything like it.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry I missed being here to see you play.
I bet you are. It was pretty bad, Joe, really.
Well, you'd never know it.
Had me marked down for 10 errors when I left.
Only 10.
Well, that's in 5 innings.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you got to be pretty bad to run up a score like that.
Oh, I would say that.
I was, Joe. No, I was pretty bad.
Mm-hmm. I get it. Auto theft Friday.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Sure, we'll be right out. Want to give me that name again, please? And that address. Fine. No, right away. Yes, sir. Friday. That's right. Right. Bye.
What do you got?
Well, I don't think you're going to get much rest today. There's a used car dealer out on Washington Boulevard.
Yeah?
He thinks he bought a stolen car. 8:15 a.m. We left the office and we drove out to the McGowan Car Company. It was a large lot on Washington Boulevard. Along the front of the place, there was a line of late model cars, each advertised as today's special. We walked through the aisles of automobiles to the office in the trailer at the back of the lot. There was nobody around, so we knocked on the door and waited.
Well, he said he'd be here, didn't he?
Yeah, I told him we'd be right out.
Yeah, maybe he's gone out to breakfast.
Yeah?
Mr. McGowan?
That's right.
Police officer, sir. You called our office. My name's Friday.
Oh, yeah. Come on in.
Thank you.
Come on in the back. Just having a cup of coffee. Fix you guys up with one?
No, sir, not for me.
How about you?
Yes, sir. Sure. I'll have a cup with you.
Good. Go on back and sit down. I'll bring it right back.
Thank you.
Say, just get your fellow's name.
My name's Frank Smith. My partner, Sergeant Friday.
Oh, glad to meet you. I talked to you on the phone, didn't I, Mr. Friday?
Yes, sir, that's right.
Thought so. Never forget a name. Never do. There's your coffee.
Thanks.
I'm Jesse McGowan. Guys on the road all the time kidding me about my first name. Jesse. Get it?
No, sir, I don't believe I do.
Jesse James.
Oh, yes.
Well, anyway, I want to tell you about it. This guy came in Saturday night.
Last Saturday?
Yeah, you see, we stay open till 10 on Saturday night. This guy must come in about 9. Jack went over to take care of him, but the fellow said he wanted to see the manager, so Jack brought him back here.
I see.
Said he had a car to sell, brand new Merc. Beautiful car. Say, I got a box of donuts here if you'd like one.
No, thanks.
I don't think I'll have one. Didn't get a chance to eat this morning. Got to worrying about this deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's some of these new kind with a thin one on top. Sure good. Well, I told this guy we'd like to buy the car, but we were kind of overstocked on Mercs.
Yeah?
He said he'd just come out from the east and bought the car when he got here. Said right after he paid for it, he lost his job and had to get some money out of it.
Uh-huh.
I asked him if he'd like to make a trade, transportation car and money to boot. Offered him a good deal on a Nash Rambler. Just got a couple of 51s in.
Yes, sir.
He said he wanted to sell the car outright. Said he was going to leave town. He wanted to get his money out of the car. I asked him how much he wanted for it.
Mm-hmm.
He told me he'd have to let it go for $2,200. That's about $800 under what he must have paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right away, I figured there was something wrong, so I had the mechanic look it over. Only had 3,200 miles on it. Hardly broke in. Beautiful. Radio heater, white sidewalls, continental hookup, real beaut.
What did your mechanic say about it?
Said it was in perfect shape. So I asked the guy who the legal owner was.
What did he say?
He said he was. He paid cash for it, had the pink slip made out to him all right. He had the identification to go with it.
You bought the car then, did you?
Yeah, sure looked like a good deal. I gave him a certified check made out to cash for the amount. He gave me the keys. That was the last I saw him.
Well, aside from the fact that it's an unusual deal, why do you think there's something wrong with it?
Well, for the first thing, the price he wanted for the car was too low. I had the feeling that if I'd have given him any trouble on it, he'd have come down on it.
Do you have the pink slip here?
Oh, yeah, I brought it with me this morning. I got it here in my wallet.
Any other reason you think the deal might be phony?
It's hard to put it into words, Sergeant. Nothing I can point out to you. Just a feeling. You stay in this business very long, you kind of get to know people. Yeah. There it is.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's been a lot of gags about used car salesmen, about how we're always after somebody. Most of the time, though, it's the other way around.
Is that right?
Yeah, the bums were put out of the business right after the war. Public wouldn't stand for the way they did business. Got to rely on people coming back if you're going to come out in the long run. I guess it's like almost any other kind of business.
Yeah, I suppose so. What kind of identification did the man have to prove he was this, was it Lewis Carter?
Yeah. Well, to tell you the truth, Sergeant, I didn't ask for any. He had the pink slip. Price he was asking was right. We checked the block and body number. The one listed on the slip. No reason to believe he didn't own the car.
How about it, Joe? Well, looks like it's one of the slips from DMV in San Diego.
You mean there is something wrong?
What if I use your phone, please?
Sure, you bet. It's right there. Help yourself.
Thank you. Can I dial a Michigan number on this?
Yeah?
All right. $2507, please. Yeah, auto theft. Mm-hmm. Hi, this is Joe Friday. Yeah. Say, we got a pink slip out here. Looks like it's one of those that were stolen from DMV down south. No, down south, San Diego? Mm-hmm. You got the list there? Yeah, I'll wait.
You mean somebody stole a pink slip from the department?
Yes, sir. As near as we can figure it, about 2 dozen of them.
Never heard of that.
Well, this is the first one of them. Hello? Yeah. All right. Made out to a Lewis Franklin Carter. No. C. Charlie. Yeah. A-R. D-Dog. Yeah. E-R. Carter. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Registration number is 660-. No, 2 6s. 660-. 2 more 6s. 667. 660-667. That's right. Address 4287 Ingram Street, Los Angeles. LA 5. Engine number 585509. All right, I'm sorry. 58550925. That's it. Mm-hmm. Mercury 8. Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, that's what we figured. You got anything on the car? Mm-hmm. No, it was sold Saturday night. That's right. Yeah, there should be something out on it. Okay. Right. Thank you.
How about it? The car stolen?
No report yet, sir.
I got to call the bank.
Now, you said you gave the man a certified check.
Yeah, I got to stop payment on it. Ain't going to be easy either. He can cash it any place. Sure looks like I'm out $2,200.
Well, it isn't likely he's been able to cash it by this time, sir.
Maybe not, but I'll give long odds that he's standing in line when the door's open. I better give him a call. Hope somebody's there.
It's just 8:25.
Yeah. Probably a little early. Yeah. Doesn't sound like anybody's there yet. Well, keep trying. I got to get that check.
See what I mean?
What's that?
About the jokes. We're the ones always trying to get away with a fast deal. No such thing. Take this one, for instance.
Yeah?
I bought the car in good faith. Paid cash for it. Gave the guy just what he asked for.
Well, I'm not quite sure.
Huh?
You get a little more than that. We got a complete description of the suspect, Lewis Carter. We put out a local and an APB on him, and then we asked Dean Bergman to come out and go over the car for fingerprints. The owner of the used car lot, Jesse McGowan, told us that the car had been washed and cleaned thoroughly, but he didn't think we'd be able to come up with any fingerprints. 9 a.m. We put in a call to the bank and asked them to stop payment on the check and to notify their branch officers to do the same. McGowan supplied the number of the check, and the information was gotten out to the other banks and check cashing agencies in the area. Bergman finished checking the car, and he told us that the only print that he'd been able to find was a partial thumbprint under the dashboard. We rolled the prints of the man who'd washed the car along with those of McGowan and the other people on the lot who'd come in contact with the automobile. None of theirs matched. We checked with the office and told them that we'd check out the address listed on the pink slip. 9:37 a.m. We pulled up in front of 4287 Ingram Street. It was a large two-story place that had been converted into a rooming house. There were several cars parked in the front yard. We went up to the front door and rang the bell.
Want to try it again?
Yeah.
I didn't know there were any of those around anymore. Don't see many of them nowadays.
What?
What kind of doorbell?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
I'd like to see Lewis Carter.
I'm him. What do you want?
Police officers. We'd like to talk to you.
Cops? What do you want with me?
Might be better if we talked inside.
Huh?
Inside?
Oh, yeah. Come on in. I just got up. Either one of you guys got a cigarette?
Yeah.
Thanks. How about a match?
Here.
Thanks. Well, what do you want to see me about? Something wrong?
You own a 53 Mercury convertible?
Yeah, why?
You know where it is?
It should be out in front. Why?
You leave the keys in your car when you park it?
Once in a while I forget it, yeah. Look, I don't know if it's there now, though.
Your car's been stolen, Mr. Carter.
Huh?
Your car's been stolen.
Well, wait a minute. Yeah, you're right. Well, where is it? You got it back for me? Is it in the police garage?
No, sir, I'm afraid it's not that easy. It was sold Saturday night.
Sold? Who to?
A used car dealer out in Washington.
Who owns the car, sir?
Well, I do.
Do you have the pink slip on it?
No, I didn't get it back from the Department of Motor Vehicles yet. Why?
Well, the man that sold the car had the pink slip with him.
Well, I don't care if he did have it. The car doesn't belong to him. He had no right to sell it.
When's the last time you saw your car?
I guess it was Saturday afternoon. I came home early. I parked it out in front. Yeah, Saturday afternoon.
How is it you didn't know the car was taken?
Officer, you saw the front of this place. Must be half a dozen cars parked out there. The rumors they use a yard.
You didn't use the car over the weekend, then, is that it?
Oh, no, I didn't. When I got home Saturday afternoon, like I told you, I spent the whole weekend doing some painting in one of the upstairs rooms. It was vacant a long time. I figured maybe if I put a little paint on it, I might be able to rent it.
Mm-hmm.
See, my wife used to take care of the place. She and I had some trouble. She went back east to see her mother. Seems like the house went to pot after she left, and we're really going to have trouble when she comes back and sees this mess.
How many people do you have living there?
9.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to have you take a look at this description, see if any of them fit it.
You figure it might be one of them?
Well, we'd like you to check the description if you would.
Okay. No, I'm pretty sure it isn't one of them. None of them match this.
What if you can give us their names?
Oh, sure I can. Well, why do you have to have them?
Just routine.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can give them to you, but I'm sure they are mixed up in it.
Yes, sir.
The thing I can't figure is how he got the pink slip.
It was stolen, sir.
From the state?
Yes, sir. Last month, someone broke into their offices in San Diego and stole 2 dozen registration slips.
How much did you get for the car?
$2,200.
$2,200. Thing cost me over $3,000. Guy must be a jerk, huh?
I don't know. It didn't cost him anything. 10:15 a.m. We went by the used car lot and picked up the owner. We took him down to the city hall and had him check the mug book. After going through the pictures, he was unable to give us an identification of the man who sold him the stolen automobile. We checked the names of the people who lived at Lewis Carter's house. One of them had a record of arrest on charges of violation of Section 4127A of the Los Angeles Municipal Code. He'd served a short term in the city jail, and then he'd been released. His physical description, however, did not match that of the suspect we were looking for. 11:35 a.m. We had the used car dealer taken back to his lot, and Frank and I checked into the office.
About the only thing we got working for us is the check.
Yeah, hope we get the word out in time.
He gets his hands on that money, and he can go a long way.
I get it. Auto theft Friday. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we did. Uh-huh. Right. That's right. Be there as soon as we can make it. Right. Bye. Well, he isn't going far.
What do you mean?
He's at the bank now.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
We'd gotten a call from a branch office at the bank that the check had been drawn on. At 11:30 a.m. that morning, a man had walked into the bank and presented a check for the amount of $2,200 drawn on the account of Jesse McGowan. Because of the amount of the check, it had to be okayed by the head cashier. Fortunately, he'd gotten the information about the check and had stalled the suspect long enough to call us. He was able to keep him waiting until we got there. The man was taken into custody without any trouble. He denied having anything to do with the stolen car, and he said that we'd made a mistake. We took him downtown and started to question him.
I tell you, I don't know what this is all about. I'd like to help you out, but there's nothing I can do.
Frank?
Yeah?
You want to get in touch with McGowan, have him come over?
Yeah, right away.
You want to tell me again when you got that check?
It was against the law to have a check.
I'd like to know where you got this one.
I won it.
Where?
I don't know what this is all about. I'm not about to get any of my friends in trouble by naming them. I got nothing to do with it, let alone my pals.
To save yourself a lot more trouble if you'll tell us where you got the check.
All right, I won it in a poker game.
Pretty high stakes.
We gave up kid games.
Where'd you win it from?
I told you I wasn't going to name any names.
We're going to get them sooner or later, you know that.
Not for me, huh?
You build it any way you want.
That's the way I figure it.
When was this poker game?
Saturday night.
Where?
I'm sorry, there's another one I can't answer.
You been in San Diego lately?
Not for a couple of months.
When's the last time you were down there?
I don't remember right off.
It'll help if you can.
What do you mean, help me? I got no trouble. You guys make a pinch while I'm trying to cash a check. I won the money. It was a payment for a debt. All I was trying to do was get my money. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong. Why don't you tell us who you won the money from?
And have you guys throw a beef at them? Nothing doing. I read where you fellas spend your time breaking up a game of old maid.
It's a little more serious than that, isn't it?
Well, maybe to you. I got no problem. All I got to do is sit tight.
You keep believing that, mister. You keep acting like this, and you'll see what a problem you really got here.
McGowan's on his way over, Joe. Who's McGowan?
He's the man who wrote the checks you tried to cash.
Waste of time. You don't know me.
We'll let him decide that.
Go ahead. Have your fun.
Couple of questions we'd like to ask you.
Go ahead. I got nothing more important to do.
Checked your name through our identification bureau. Came up with some mighty interesting things.
Isn't that right?
Yeah. Let me see, Frank. Here. True name Harold Drake, is that right?
Yeah.
Your address is listed as 2917 Ledgewood Drive, is that right?
Yep.
You told us you'd never been arrested.
I haven't.
Let's take a look at the picture.
You got the room rigged for moving.
I'm going to tell you something, Drake. You mark it down, you remember it. The sooner you stop playing footsie with us, the better it's going to be for you, understand?
When do you bring out the rubber hose?
That went out with the story you're trying to hand us. Here's the picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the guy looks a lot like me. Didn't know any better. You might think we were twins.
Yeah, if you didn't know better.
Well, we do, huh?
Oh, come off it, Drake, will you? We got you nailed, and you know it. You want to sit there and dream up these fairy tales? That's up to you, but we got a job to do. We know you'll stand for this, and so do you. Now, why don't you save us both a lot of trouble and cop out?
Look, I'd like to do it, Sergeant. No lie, I really would. But I can't cop out to something I had nothing to do with.
All right. Start all over again. Where did you get the check?
A guy gave it to me to pay off a poker debt.
You going to tell us who the guy is?
No.
I think it's time to stop playing games. Now, let's get down to what we got in the books here. You claim you've never been arrested. We got a package on you here that shows 3 arrests and 2 convictions.
On a guy that looks like me.
Let's go down the hall and roll your prints. That'll clean it up, won't
I'm
it?
for that. Now, go on. Tell me the rest of the fairy tale.
I'll lay it out for you in 1-syllable words.
That'll make it easy for you.
You broke into the offices of DMV down in San Diego on February 28th.
Yeah, day goes nice in February. Somebody's going to write a song about it sometime.
You stole 26 pink slips, ready for mailing to the owners.
You must mean somebody else.
Now, that smile's going to come off your face, Drake, when McGowan walks in.
Look, I don't know who Mr. McGowan is, but I'll be happy to meet him. Now, tell me, what did I do after I stole the pink slip?
You got the address of Lewis Carter. Then you went to his home on Saturday night and you stole his car. You drove it down to McGowan's used car lot, and with a pink slip, you sold it to him for $2,200.
I was busy that night, wasn't I?
What are you trying to prove with all this talk, Drake? You trying to make it rough on yourself? Is that what you want?
I'm not trying to do anything. All I'm doing is trying to go along with you guys.
I'll check and see if McGowan's here. All right.
Can I have one of those?
Yeah, help yourself.
Thanks. You know, I wouldn't have your job for all the money in the world.
All right.
Yeah, it's a lousy way to live.
Going around trying to get people to cop out the things they didn't do.
That's the way it looks to you, doesn't it?
From anywhere I sit, it turns up just that way.
A couple things wrong.
What?
Your record, for one thing.
If you can prove it's mine.
All we got to do is walk down the hall and you had it. As soon as we check the prints, we've turned the key.
Sounds good the way you tell it.
It's going to sound better the way the judge says it, isn't it?
Who's writing for you?
You were arrested in 1939 for auto theft. You served 3 years. Arrested in 1945, suspicion grand theft auto. Dismissed.
Yeah, you see. I knew they had the wrong guy.
Nobody's told us. Another arrest in 1946, grand theft auto. Served 4 years.
Case of mistaken identity.
Is that what happened both times?
Some people got very bad eyes. Now, you take this fellow McGowan you're bringing in here. Wouldn't be at all surprised if he had bad eyes.
You know, there's one way to get yourself out of this, and that's to tell us where you got that check.
I don't know how to do it any more simple than I have, Sergeant. I won it playing poker, and I'm not going to tell you who I won it from. It wouldn't do any good.
I don't know who's been giving you advice, mister, but you aren't playing it very smart.
Really?
The guy who dreamed up this routine probably spent the next 20 years at Q.
As a matter of fact, he's still walking around.
All right, mister, let's go down the hall and check your prints.
Come on in, Mr. McGowan.
That's the man.
You sure about that?
Swear to it in court. What are you trying to do? Cause me a lot of trouble? I haven't done anything, and you know it. Now you come in here and you say that's the man. You know what they can do to me?
All right, Drake, that's enough of that.
Let's go, Mr. McGowan.
Swear to it in court. That's the man who told me to come.
How about it, Drake?
Nothing more, huh?
Yeah, we'll roll your prints and check them against the record. We got a couple of partials from San Diego. If yours match up, and I think they will, you've had it.
No way out, huh?
Not that I can see.
Oh, what happens, now this is just a wild question for the sake of argument. What happens if I cop out, plead guilty?
We got nothing to say about that.
You can't help out, huh?
No, sir.
Save the taxpayers a lot of money, no trial.
I told you we got nothing to say about that.
Not much to gain then by copping out, huh?
We got you made if you do or you don't. Maybe make it a little easier if there's no jury trial. That's up to the judge.
Nothing you can do?
It'll go into the book that way.
Mm-hmm. Got another cigarette?
You're right there. Help yourself.
Thanks.
All right, let's go. Might as well get the prints and finish this thing up. Come on, Greg. Get up.
No hurry. Let me finish the cigarette.
I said, come on. We got other things to do.
Well, so have I.
What?
1 to 10 years.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent. On September 15th, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial. Harold Alex Drake was tried and convicted of grand theft auto 3 counts and was sentenced as prescribed by law. Grand theft auto is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of from 1 to 10 years. A hold was placed on the suspect by San Diego County for prosecution on the burglary charge. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Herb Vigran, Jack Crucian, Herb Ellis. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, low in nicotine, highest in quality, best for you. Chesterfield brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. You get a call that a man has barricaded himself in his apartment. The report says he's going to kill himself. Your job, stop him. Smokers by the thousands are now changing to Chesterfield. the only cigarette ever to give you 1, proof of low nicotine, highest quality. 2, this proven record with smokers. No adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfield. Chesterfield, regular or king size, low in nicotine, highest in quality, best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, November 18th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Warman. My name's Friday. I was on my way back to the office, and it was 10:32 a.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Joe?
Yeah?
That didn't take too long.
No, Saul just got the coffee made. Here you are.
Thanks. Boy, it sure is hot.
Mm-hmm. Anything come in?
No, it's been pretty quiet.
I got it. Homicide, Friday. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. When was that? Mm-hmm. No, ma'am. No, if you'll wait just... Yes, I understand, but... Yes, ma'am. If you'll wait just a moment, I'll transfer you to robbery. Yes, ma'am. Well, I'll explain it to you over there. Right. Could you hold on, please? Would you give this call to 2511, please? Yes, that's right.
Sure dismal weather.
Yeah. Feels like it's going to rain, doesn't it? Paper says it might hit tonight.
Yeah. Well, I hope it clears up before Sunday.
What do you got figured out this time?
Well, Joe, I don't understand why you say it that way.
You don't, huh?
No.
Well, what do you got figured?
Take a look at this. I got just the ticket right here.
The ticket, huh?
Yes, sir, look at that. The answer to every homeowner's prayer. Take a look.
Yeah.
Gonna be a beauty, isn't it?
No, if you say so.
Now, look here, Joe. Look what it says. Easy, simple, install in a few hours. Just the ticket.
Do you need one of these?
Have you seen our backyard lately?
No, not for a couple of weeks. Looked all right the last time I did see it.
Well, you ought to see it now. It's pretty bad.
It is, huh?
Awful. I just stand there and look at Perry's yard and want to throw rocks at mine.
Perry's the fireman, isn't he?
No, Joe. That's Neil you're thinking of. He lives on the other side. Perry's the insurance salesman.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
He's the one who tries all the sales talks out on you, is that
Yeah, tells me all about him. That's pretty good, too. Joe, would you believe it? Up to now, I've bought $246,000 worth of insurance.
What?
Yeah, me, just a policeman. Of course, that's all on paper, just on paper.
Yeah. What's wrong with your yard?
Too dry.
Too dry.
Yeah. Hot weather this summer, you know. Little plants that Faye put out drop like flies, Joe.
They died.
Like flies. But this is the answer, this right here. See? Home sprinkler system. Install it yourself.
What's that?
Look at it.
Well, what is it?
It's a home sprinkler system, Joe. Read what it says here. Resists corrosion, rust, and rot. It's the answer.
It is.
Right. I'm going to put one of these little gems in my backyard. Just turn on the faucet. Everything's all watered. Don't have to stand there with a hose. Just turn it on and it's watered.
You're going to put this in yourself, are you?
Well, I could, Joe. Like it says here in the paper, shouldn't be any trouble at all.
Who's going to do it?
Well, I thought I'd get all the stuff together and then just start on it Sunday. You know, about 10:30 in the morning. Old Perry and Neil work out in the yards at that time.
They do, huh?
Yeah. They'll see this little gem and they're going to hop over the fence, see what it's all about.
And then what happens?
I got him, Joe. I got him.
You have?
Sure, Joe. They see me laying out the sprinkler system right off. They're going to want to help.
Well, if you want them to give you a hand, why don't you just ask them?
Well, you just can't do it that way, Joe. It wouldn't be right.
It wouldn't, huh?
No. You got to be subtle. Remember the kid that whitewashed the fence?
Who?
You know, Huck Finn or whatever his name was. Whitewashed the fence.
You still reading those books?
No, but I remember that he was pretty subtle.
Mm-hmm.
I got it figured out. They'll come over and, look around, start asking questions, and next thing they'll be working. After we get the system in, I'll throw a little barbecue and just sit around, turn on the new sprinkler, and it'll be cool.
Yeah.
Sure hope it clears up before Sunday.
Well, it doesn't matter, does it?
Well, sure, Joe. If it rains Sunday, old Perry and Neil won't be out in their yards. They won't be able to see me with the hoses and the sprinkler heads.
Yeah, but if it rains, there won't be any need to put in the sprinkler system right away, will there? I got it. Homicide, Friday. Yeah, Sid. Uh-huh. Did you talk to him? What'd he say? Right. All right, we'll be right over. Want to get your coat?
What is it?
Sid Hughes over at the Mirror.
Yeah?
Just got a call from a guy who's going to kill himself. 10:37 a.m. Frank and I notified the complaint board what had happened, and then we left the office. As we drove out of the City Hall garage, it started to rain. We turned up First Street and then over to Spring. Sid Hughes, the reporter who'd called me, was waiting in front of the Mirror building.
Sid, over here.
Oh.
You got the address, Sid?
Yeah, here. 2682 North Ardmore, out by the Ambassador. Hi, Smith.
Hi, Sid. All right, let's go. What do you got on it, Sid?
Well, a couple of minutes ago, the guy called. I answered the phone. Told me his name was Jan Padacek. Said he was going to kill himself.
Yeah?
I talked to him for a couple of seconds. It was easy to see he wasn't just another crank. He meant what he said.
How'd he happen to call you?
I don't know. He said something about the paper treating him right. Said he wanted to thank us.
You know what he's talking about?
No, I got Casey Shawhan working on it now. He's our city editor.
Yeah, I know.
He's checking the morgue file, see if he can come up with anything.
You ever heard of him, Frank?
No, name does nothing to me.
How come you figure he's on the level, Sid?
Well, the way he talked, I can't put my finger on it. Just something in the way he sounded. You knew he meant what he said.
What'd you tell him?
Well, I tried to bluff it through. Told him that there wasn't anything so important he ought to kill himself over it.
Yeah?
I asked him to let me talk to him. Asked him to wait until I could see him.
What'd he say to that?
Told me it wouldn't do any good. Nothing could make him change his mind. Said I'd be wasting my time.
Yeah?
Told him I had a lot of it. Wouldn't do any harm to let me see him.
He went along with that, did he?
Yeah. Said he'd wait 15 minutes. Told me to come alone, not to figure on trying anything.
Yeah. Frank, you better kill the siren when we get near the place.
Right.
What time you got?
10:42.
Can we go any faster?
What's that?
I told you I believe the guy.
Yeah?
He said to get there before 11:05.
.2682 Ardmore was a two-story Spanish-type apartment house. There was a large courtyard in the center of the U-shaped building. Apartment number 8 was at the rear of the yard. When we got there were several other people standing by the entrance. 2 police units had arrived, and the officers were trying to keep the crowd away from the door to the apartment. 11:03 a.m. As we walked back toward Padacek's apartment, Sid Hughes and I tried to figure some way to talk the man out of carrying out his threat to take his own life.
I'm not sure how to handle this thing, Joe. I'd feel pretty bad if I went in and botched it up. Wish you could do it.
Well, has Padacek ever seen you before?
I don't think so. Why?
Well, we can try a switch if you want to. Tell him I'm Sid Hughes.
Well, that'd be better, Joe. You got some idea what to do in there. I'm not sure I could swing it.
All right.
I told him I'd shove one of my cards from the newspaper under the door. That way he'd know it was me.
All right.
Now, after you're inside, I'll try and get in touch with Casey and see what he's been able to come up with on Padacek.
Good.
Oh, better leave your gun here. Told him I'd come unarmed.
All right.
You think it's a good idea to go in there without a gun, Joe?
Well, we haven't got much to say about it. The big thing right now is to try to get him out alive.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Okay, you want to hang on to this for me?
Right.
All right, let's give it a try.
Who is it?
It's Sid Hughes, Padacek. I told you I'd be out here. You want to let me in?
What about the card?
All right, here it is. Under the door. How about it? Padacek?
Well, he took the card.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope this thing works out.
You're going to try to get in touch with your office, aren't you, Sid, and see what you can get on him? Might help. Come on, Padacek, let me in.
The police are there. I'm not going to let them in.
They aren't going to bother you.
Tell them to go away. Tell them to get off the porch.
All right, Frank, you better get the other officers to clear the place out.
Right.
All right, the police are gone now. You want to let me in?
Will you bring my mail in for me?
What's that?
My mail, it's in the box, right on the side of the porch. In the box.
All right, I'll get it. All right, now let me in, huh?
Come on. Now stand right there.
You don't need that gun. I'm not going to cause you any trouble.
Turn around.
I told you I was coming unarmed.
Turn around. We'll see. All right, let's go upstairs.
All right.
Just a minute.
Okay, let's go.
Why don't you put the gun down? You're going to need that.
I feel better with it.
Mind if I take off my raincoat?
No, go ahead. Make yourself comfortable.
Here's your mail.
Thanks.
Aren't you going to open it up?
No reason to. There's nothing important.
You can't tell. There might be.
There isn't. I know that.
You want a cigarette?
No, but you go ahead. Here, have one of these. I want to be able to see your hands.
All right. So what's this all about?
There's no other way.
What do you mean?
All night I've been thinking about it since I got home. There's nothing for me anymore. I'm not going to prison. If they think they're going to take me, then they're wrong.
Well, who says you're going to prison?
The authorities. They said I have to go to jail for 90 days. I know how they plan it. They tell me 90 days, and then they'll keep me there for more. Well, I'm not going back to prison.
You ever been in jail before?
Yes, 5 years.
What for?
For nothing. 5 years because I didn't agree with what they were doing. I'm not going back. I'm not going. I'll kill myself first.
All right, take it easy. You want to start from the beginning and tell me what happened?
I said I forged a man's name to a check.
Did you?
Yes, but you've got to understand I didn't have any money. They're going to take my car away from me. I'm behind on my rent here. I owe money. All my creditors were hounding me. I thought if I could just get a little money to pay the bills, and I could pay it back when I got a job. I was going to pay it back, all of it. I really was.
How much was the check?
$250.
Whose name did you sign to it?
A man I know. I got a check and signed his name. He has the money. I was going to pay him back. I have a job coming up. As soon as I got paid, I was going to put the money back. I didn't mean any harm. I knew it was wrong, but it was the only thing I could think of. They were hounding me.
Well, what about that car? Couldn't you sell it?
I suppose so, but then if I did, I wouldn't be able to get to my job. I needed my car for that. I had to keep the machine.
Well, you'll have a trial. If you tell them what happened, they'll probably understand. The court will make an allowance.
I've had a trial. I told them I was guilty, that I did forge a check. They told me I had to go to jail.
You said you'd been in prison before.
Yes. 5 years, and I escaped.
Where was that?
In Czechoslovakia. They put me in prison because I wouldn't do what they told me. They killed my father and my mother, and then they put me in prison. I know what it's like. I'm not going back.
Well, the prisons here aren't concentration camps. You know that.
That's what you say. I know different. I've lived in them. You see here? You see these 4 teeth in front?
Yes, I see them.
Well, they're false.
Is that right?
I lost the teeth when I was kicked by a guard. You know why I was kicked? You know why he did it?
No.
Because my clothes were torn. That's the reason he kicked me. I tore my clothes, so he knocked my 4 front teeth out.
Well, that's all over now, isn't it? Things like that don't happen here.
Well, maybe not out in front of people, but they happen in the prisons. I'm not going to have it happen to me again. There were 800 of us, all arrested at the same time. 800, Mr. Hughes.
Yeah.
800 men, people I knew. 800 human beings with homes and families. And I'm the only one alive now. All the rest were killed. All taken to Buchenwald and run through the showers. Now, don't tell me about prisons, Mr. Hughes. I know. I've lived in them.
Tell me something.
Yes.
You remember the name of the judge who sentenced you here on the forgery charge?
Yes.
Well, let me call him. Let me get him over here and talk this thing over. We can work something out. There's no reason for you to do a thing like you're planning here. It's not that important.
Maybe not to you.
It isn't to anybody. We can work something out here. Let me call the judge.
No, sit down, Mr. Hughes. Look, I'm not a stupid man. I have degrees from 3 universities. I speak 4 languages. I spent 5 years jumping every time a guard looked at me. 5 years wishing they'd kill me. 5 years wishing I could live in hell because it'd be much better than the way things were. Now they think they're going to send me back. They're not. You understand that, don't you, Mr. Hughes? Don't you?
Yeah, I think I understand it. Look, you said yourself that you thought about it all night. Now, isn't it possible that you're making this thing more important than it really is?
No.
I came in here to help you. I want you to help yourself.
Get your hands off me, Mr. Hughes. Now get over there.
Look, I don't know how to tell you, Patachek. I don't know how to make you believe me, but none of us want to hurt you. We want you to be happy here. That's one of the reasons you came to this country, isn't it?
Yes, I read the books about freedom. That's why I came here. Now they're trying to take that freedom away from me. Before I even have it, they're trying to take it away from me. I forged a check. I admitted it. I told them I did it. But I told them I'd pay the money back. That didn't seem to make any difference. They still said I had to go to jail.
You said yourself that you were put in prison for not agreeing with the authorities. Isn't that what you said?
Yes, that's what I said.
Well, they don't do that in this country. You know that. Everybody's entitled to his own opinion and live his own life. We got laws that are written by the people to protect the people. You understand that, don't you? The people themselves write the law.
Yes, I understand that.
Well, you don't break a law just a little bit. Either you keep it or you don't. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Well, you broke the law, didn't you? Isn't that right?
I told you I did. I broke the law.
All right, now listen. After you've broken a law, you can't make it right by saying you'll pay the money back. But the fact that you do want to rectify your mistake will certainly be taken into consideration by anybody in authority. You understand that?
I don't know. I try to think. I've thought about it over and over. I can't come to any answer.
Where are you going?
Gotta take something for this headache. Got a bad head.
What's this here?
What?
This note here on the bureau.
That's what I wrote. Tell why I did it, so they'd know.
Nobody understands what has happened to me. I cannot accept a jail term. All I want is to find peace and freedom. I guess this is the only way to do that. I'm sorry to cause anybody any trouble. Please take care of my dogs. Patacek?
Yes?
You know this is all wrong, don't you?
I don't know. I wish I did, but I don't know.
No, we're not going to need this. There's going to be no reason for it.
What are you doing? Get away from me. Leave my things alone. Like all the rest, you don't understand either. You better get out of here. Get out.
All right, if that's the way you want it.
Why'd you crumple up this note? Now, why?
I didn't think that you'd need it. I thought we had this thing straightened out.
Well, we haven't. I told you, get out.
All right, wait a minute. You said that you'd pled guilty. You admitted you forged that check. Isn't that right?
That's what I said.
Well, how come you're here? How come you happen to be home?
They gave me 24 hours to arrange care for my dogs. I put up a bond. They gave me 24 hours.
Where'd you get the money for the bond?
One of the companies by the jail. They put it up for me.
Well, how about the dogs? Did you take care of them?
No, not yet.
Where are they?
They're up in the kitchen.
Can I see them?
You like dogs?
Certainly I like dogs.
All right, come on. There they are. This one's Marta. This little one's Eric.
Yeah, they look like real good dogs.
They are. Thoroughbred shepherds. Only friends I have.
That's not true. You got friends.
Who? Tell me who.
Well, me, for one, I'd like to be your friend if you'll just give me the chance. How about it? What do you say?
What's that on your belt?
What?
The leather case on your belt. What is it? You don't have to answer. I'll tell you. It's a bullet clip. You're not Sid Hughes, are you? Are you?
No, Jan.
No, you're a policeman. You're here to take me to prison, but you made a mistake, a big mistake.
Yeah?
I'm going to kill you.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action. At cigarette dealers, in vending machines, at supermarkets and stores coast to coast.
Chesterfield's, please.
Smokers by the thousands. Yes, smokers by the thousands are now changing to Chesterfield. The only cigarette ever to give you
one, proof of low nicotine, highest quality. Chemical analyses of the country's 6 leading brands confirm that.
2, the only cigarette ever to give you this proven record with smokers. Again and again, over a full year and 1/2, a group of Chesterfield smokers have been given thorough medical examinations. The doctor's reports are a matter of record.
No adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfield.
A responsible independent research laboratory supervises this continuing program. Chesterfield, the only cigarette ever with a record like this. Chesterfield, best for you.
$11:18 a.m. I'd been in the apartment with Jan Patacek for 13 minutes. During that time, he'd held a chrome-plated Luger pointed at me. We'd gone into the kitchen to see the dogs, and Patacek had noticed the cartridge clip on my belt. When I'd given my gun and holster to Frank, I'd forgotten to take the clip off. Patacek had noticed it when I kneeled down to pet the dogs. He'd looked at it for a minute, and then he motioned me to go into the living room. He followed, keeping the gun pointed at me. When we got into the center of the room, he told me to sit down, and he walked over to the other side of the room and sat on a chair.
There's some cigarettes on the table next to you. Please give me one.
Yeah, sure. Here.
Just throw it over here.
All right, here you are.
Thanks. Take one yourself if you like. Who are you?
My name's Friday.
You're a policeman, aren't you?
That's right.
You know, killing isn't new to me. I've done it before.
All right?
Yeah. See this gun?
Yeah?
I killed the man who owned it. He was the one at the prison camp, the one who kicked me. After I escaped, I went back. Now I have the gun. Now I don't have to listen to other people who tell me what to do or when or how to do it. You'll listen to me because you know if you don't, I'll kill you. You know that, don't you?
Maybe.
I've seen a lot of killing. I know what it is. I won't hesitate to kill you.
What about the people you know here?
What about?
How are they going to feel after you've done away with yourself?
It won't matter to them.
You sound pretty sure about that.
I'm as sure as I can be.
You mean that in the 2 years that you've been over here in this country, you haven't made any friends that are going to care about
None at all.
What about the people in that picture?
Why?
Right here. This photograph here. Christmas party, all the signatures. Won't they care?
No.
How about this one here? Says to Jan with deepest regards. Signed Mary Jane. Is this her?
Yes, that's her.
Looks like a nice girl to me.
She is.
Well, she'll care, won't she?
I don't think so.
Why?
Because all of them, they felt sorry for me all the time. They tried to make it easier because they felt sorry for me. They thought I didn't know, but I did. All the time, I knew.
Well, some of the things that they wrote on the pictures doesn't make it look like that. Some of them are pretty nice.
They didn't mean them.
You really believe that?
I don't have any other choice.
How long's it been since you did believe in anything?
Long time.
How long?
I guess since my mother died.
When was that?
At the beginning of the war. Right after the conference. They came one night. They took her and my father. Took them both. I never saw them again. I heard what happened. Guess that's the time I stopped believing in anything.
How'd you happen to come over to this country?
After I escaped, I went to England for 5 years. I worked with the Czech forces there. Then, when the war was over, I got permission to come here.
I think you said before that you came over here because you wanted the freedom. Isn't that right?
Yes.
You found it, didn't you?
I guess so.
Anyone ever try to tell you where you could go?
No.
What church to go to?
No.
You can say what you think, can't you?
Yes.
Well, why do you want to do this thing?
I try to tell you, I know about prisons. I know what goes on behind the doors. I lived there. I lived and died in them. You ever been in one?
Yes.
As a prisoner?
No, not as a prisoner.
Well, that's just it. Maybe they got you fooled, too. I remember when the people from the relief organizations would come along. The guard would take us out in the court of the prison. They'd make us stand there and tell the people how good they were to us. If we didn't say it that way, then they'd take us back and beat us to death. I know what goes on behind the doors. I know because I saw it. I lived it. Now, don't tell me what happens. Now, you and your law come along and tell me that you're going to send me back.
What about them? Who's going to take care of the dogs? Isn't that the reason that you're here? Isn't that the reason you came home? Who's going to take care of them?
I don't know. Somebody will.
They're going to miss you.
They'll miss me feeding them, that's all.
You know better than that.
Martha, Eric, be quiet.
Well, they seem to mind, don't they?
They're well trained.
You ever shown them?
No.
We have a lot of good dog shows around here. You ought to show them. They'd probably do real good.
Do they have dog shows in prison?
I don't know how to tell you. I don't know how to make you believe me. If you just let me get that judge over here, let him talk to you. Maybe he can make you believe that it's not going to be like it was in your country. You'll be well fed. You'll get decent clothes. Nobody's going to beat you. We don't do things like that here.
I'm not going to prison.
Just let me get that judge over here. Now, let me call him on the phone. He can be here in just a few minutes. He'll tell you. He can do something. There's no reason why we can't work this thing out. Now, let me try to help you, please.
I want to believe you, Mr. Friday. I really do, but it's hard to believe in anything.
I'll just ask you one thing. Trust me. I've never seen you before. I don't know you outside of this room, but I ask you to believe me. And I promise you, I give you my word that I won't let anything happen to you.
I don't know. I don't know.
Let me have that gun. Let me take it, and then we can work things out.
Really think we can do it?
I think we can.
John? John, let me in. I want to see you.
They're here now to take me. You won't let them do it, will you? Please don't let them take me.
Don't worry. All right, you down there. Get away from that door. All right, come on, Jan.
I'll go crazy if they put me in prison again. I know I will. I don't want to go back.
Jan, come on. Give me the gun, will you?
I won't go back. If I go this time, it'll be for good. Now, if they take me this time, they'll kill me for what I did. I know they will.
No, they won't, Jan. Now, please, give me that gun.
John, let me in.
Get away from that door and stay away, will you?
They're going to break in. Quick, we got to hide. If they find us, they'll kill us both.
Come on, Jan, believe me. I won't let anybody hurt you. I promise. I give you my word. Now, give me that gun.
You mean that?
I do.
You won't let them take me?
No, now, come on. Give me the gun.
I want to believe you. I want to believe
you. Do it. Trust me, Jan. I won't let you down. Come on, give me the gun. Get away from that door. I'm doing the best I can. Who is he?
Now, just stand still, you.
All right.
We did all we could, Joe. This guy got by us. Says Patachek owed him money.
We tried to stop him, Joe.
Yeah.
You the man who was with him?
That's right.
Well, you had no business up there.
That's what you get for trying to impede justice. That's just
You want
what
to tell me
get.
something? What were you doing pounding on that door?
Padachek owed me money. I heard he was going to jail. I wanted to get it before he left. I had a right to be here. If you'd kept your nose out of this, I'd have gotten it straightened out.
Sure you would have. Padachek's dead.
I know that. I heard the shot. I'm out $200 he owed me. Think I'll ever get it back? I hope you're happy. You just took $200 away from me, didn't you?
Come on, Frank. Sit.
Yeah.
Let's go.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 19th, an autopsy was performed in the coroner's office in and for the county of Los Angeles, state of California. In a moment, the results of that autopsy.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, we've been getting letters from people all over the country telling us that they've switched to Chesterfield. Just as I've been telling you, thousands of smokers are changing to Chesterfield because only Chesterfield gives proof of low nicotine, highest quality. That's why I recommend you try them today. Regular or king size, you'll find Chesterfield best for you.
The coroner's autopsy disclosed that the death of Jan Padachek resulted from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. It was officially recorded as a suicide. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Whit Connor, Vic Perrin, Jack Crucian. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely new Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspaper for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Have you tried new cork-tipped Fatima? It's the smooth smoke. Here's why. New Fatima tips of perfect cork. King size for longer filtering. And Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. Remember, Fatima has the tip for your lips. Try new Fatima. See how smooth it is. Fatima is made by the makers of Chesterfield, Liggett & Myers, one of tobacco's most respected names.
Visit with Cousin Willie next.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, low in nicotine, highest in quality, best for you. Chesterfield brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to forgery detail. For the past 6 years, a forger has been working in your city. The victims describe the suspect as a woman. Her M.O. is simple, but it continues to work. Your job, stop her. Smokers by the thousands are now changing to Chesterfield. No wonder. More and more smokers are learning this fact for themselves. Chesterfield, low in nicotine, highest in quality. A published fact, proved by chemical analyses of the country's 6 leading cigarette brands. Chesterfield, the only cigarette ever with a record like this. Regular or king size, Chesterfield is best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Friday, September 18th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of forgery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Welsh. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 10:42 a.m. when we got to the 9th floor of the Beckworth department store, the credit manager's office.
Yes?
We'd like to see Mr. Donaldson, please.
May I say who's calling?
Sergeant Friday, Los Angeles Police Department.
Oh, yes, he's expecting you. Just a moment.
Thank you.
Yes?
The gentlemen from the police department are here, Mr. Donaldson.
Send them in, please.
Yes, sir. You want to go right in? That's the door.
Thank you very much.
Come on in, gentlemen.
Thank you. Mr. Donaldson?
Yes?
I'm Sergeant Friday. This is my partner, Frank Smith.
How do you do?
How you do, sir?
Sit down.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, do you want to tell us what this is all about?
Well, it's the little mother again. I've got the receipts here on the desk. Is Sergeant Ferguson still working on this case?
Yes, sir.
I talked to him the last time we were stuck.
Usual type of things charged?
Yes, children's shoes, dresses, sweaters, same as always.
I see. Now, I wonder if I could have those slips, Mr. Donaldson.
Sure. Here you are.
Thank you.
All made out the same day.
Mm-hmm. August 22nd.
Yes. Our experience is that she usually comes in on a Saturday. Seems that the store is more crowded then, and the girls don't take any more time to verify the accounts than they have to.
Can I see those, Joe?
Yeah, here you are.
Thanks.
Wonder if we could talk to the sales girl who waited on her.
Sure. I'll have her sent up.
Fine.
Yes, sir.
Miss Firestone, would you please have Mrs. Allen sent up?
Yes, sir.
I notice here the only item she charged not for children is a woman's slip.
Yes, we've had a couple of them in the past, pieces of women's clothing. I talked to Sergeant Ferguson about it when he was here.
Mm-hmm. Did you get the bulletin we sent out this month?
Beg pardon?
The bulletin, giving the woman's description, samples of her handwriting. Did you get it?
Yes, sir, we did. You've got to understand, Sergeant. This is one of the biggest stores in the city. We do a lot of business. It'll be almost impossible to alert all of the sales girls to watch for the woman.
Yes, sir, we understand that. But was the description sent to the children's department?
It was. It didn't do any good, though. If a woman charged large amounts, it might be easier. But look at the sales slips yourself.
Mm-hmm.
$4 shoes, $3 dresses. Nothing to make a charge like that stand out. We make sure that there's an account in the name and then let it go.
Don't you use the charger plate system?
Yes, we do. But if a customer wants to charge an item and hasn't got the plate, we usually just verify the account and let them sign the sales slip.
Well, how about identification?
Well, normally we do ask for it. But as I said, these sales are such small amounts, and the woman comes in when the store is crowded. The girls just call the credit department and let her sign the receipt.
I see.
Oh, excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Mrs. Allen's here.
Oh, all right. Just a moment.
Yes, sir.
The woman who waited on her is out in the office. Do you want to talk to her in here?
Well, we don't want to take up any more of your time, sir. We can see her out there.
All right. If there's anything else you need, I'll be here.
Yes, sir.
Oh, officer.
Yes, sir.
You know, I feel a little funny about this thing.
Why is that, sir?
Well, the things she's charged.
What's that?
Things she's taken. They were almost all kids' clothes. Doesn't seem to be interested in anything else. Total amounts of the articles she's taken don't add up to much. It's the principle of the thing more than the value. It just seems that the only thing she's interested in is the children. And it feels a little funny to call the police about a person like that.
Yes, sir, we understand.
We've got a lot of this going on, but the others, they take things for themselves. Luxuries, you know, expensive items. But she doesn't, just for the kids. She doesn't seem to be at all interested in herself.
Well, we are.
Yes, well, I suppose so. Well, I'll be here if you need anything more.
Thank you, Mr. Donaldson. Thanks very much. We'll be in touch with you.
You'll bring the sales slips back, won't you?
Yes, sir, as soon as we've had the chance to photograph them.
Well, I hope you can do something about it.
Yes, sir, so do we. Thank you very much.
Anything you need, you let me know.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Just a moment. Mrs. Allen? Yes? These are the police officers.
How you doing, ma'am? I'm Sergeant Friday. This is my partner, Frank Smith.
Hello.
How do you do, Miss Allen? You want to sit down over here, please?
Yes, all right. I feel just terrible about this.
Ma'am?
All this forgery thing.
Now, you waited on the woman, did you?
Yes, at least in the little girls' department.
Uh-huh. What if you could describe her for us?
Well, she was a little woman. I'd say a 10.
How's that again, ma'am?
A size 10.
Oh.
5'1", about 105 pounds. Cute as a button.
Mm-hmm. Did she have the children with her?
No, she didn't. I thought it was a little funny at the time, but as I say, we were so busy with the school rush that afternoon that none of us girls had a chance to really think about anything.
Yes, ma'am. What color hair did she have?
Kind of sandy color. Guess you'd call it a blonde. Wore it up in a bun. Back here.
Yes, ma'am.
The other girls noticed it. Long. Looked nice. Different than all the other short haircuts. Kind of old-fashioned and homey.
Yes, ma'am. How was she dressed?
Not very well. Had a little blue hat, dark coat, cloth coat. Collar came up like this, Slash pockets. Nice, but not expensive.
I say, ma'am, now would you know her if you saw her again?
Oh, my, yes. Sure would.
Well, we'd like you to come over to our office and look at some pictures, if you would.
All right. I'll have to talk to the floor manager.
We'll take care of that, Mrs. Allen.
All right. You think that you might have a picture of her?
We don't know.
I kind of hope not.
Ma'am?
I hope you don't have a picture. I guess it's a little sinful to even think of it, but she had a reason for what she did. I'm sure of it.
Why do you say that, Mrs. Allen?
Officer, I've been selling for a long time. I met a lot of people in that time. Nice ones and nasty ones. And believe me, this is one of the sweetest people I've ever served.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that you call her the Little Mother. Is that right?
Well, we don't, ma'am. That's what the newspapers call her.
Well, it fits her to a T. Right to a T. Where she bustled around those dresses, looking, testing. She was just like a mother hen trying to find something for her brood. A little doll, cute as a button. She just got to have a reason for what she's doing.
Sergeant Friday?
Yes, Mr. Donaldson?
I'm glad I caught you. I think we've got it.
Sir?
The Little Mother is downstairs now.
For the last 6 years, the same woman had been operating in the downtown department stores. During that period, she'd forged a total of $1,300 worth of merchandise that we knew of. Because of her M.O., there was no way of telling how much more had gone undetected. The operation was a simple one. She'd enter a store, go to one of the departments. There she'd pick up articles of apparel, mostly for children, and then ask to charge them. She'd explain that she'd forgotten her charger plate, and after the account had been verified, she'd sign the charge slip. These slips would be put in the mail to the people who maintained the account, and it wouldn't be until they noticed a discrepancy that we'd be notified. Usually a month would pass between the time the clothing was taken and we were told of it. In the 6 years that the Little Mother, as the newspapers had dubbed her, had been operating, almost every team of detectives in the forgery detail had worked on the case. Statements from salesgirls who'd waited on her were taken. Photostats of the sales slips were made. Witnesses were interrogated, and then when the sum total of actual physical evidence was weighed and sifted, there was no lead to the identity of the forger. The police department had gotten out printed bulletins and copies of composite drawings of the suspect, and these had been distributed to all department stores in the area. But because of the suspect's appearance and the way she operated, none of the victims became suspicious in time to notify us. The Department Stores Protective League was working with us, but they met with the same dead ends that we'd found. Meanwhile, the evidence continued to pile up. The operation continued to work. When the manager of Beckworth's department store told us that the suspect was in the store, Frank and I were able to come up with the first concrete lead we'd had since we'd been working on the case. In the company of the manager and the saleswoman, Mrs. Myra Allen, Frank and I went down to the boys' department where the suspect was reported to be.
Down this way.
Yes, sir.
The girl said she was over by boys' suits. I hope they were able to hold her.
Mm-hmm.
Just a minute.
Yes, sir.
I know I don't have to tell you gentlemen about the store's liability in a situation like this.
No, sir.
Now, I'm sure it's her, but it could be very embarrassing and expensive to the store if we made a mistake.
All right, sir, we understand.
Good. Over here.
All right.
Mr. Donaldson? Mr. Donaldson?
Yes, Miss Franklin. Where is she?
It's not my fault. You've got to believe that.
What's the matter, miss?
Don't tell me you stopped the wrong person. You caused trouble with an innocent party, and she could sue the store.
I'm sorry, Mr. Donaldson.
Where is the woman, miss?
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yes, ma'am?
She wouldn't wait.
A quick search of the immediate vicinity in the store failed to turn up the suspect. The department store security staff was notified, and a watch was put on all of the doors. The credit department was notified, and they took action. We checked with the elevator operators. We found one that told us she'd seen a woman who answered the description get in her car. She explained that the woman seemed to be in a hurry and had left the elevator as soon as it had reached the main floor. A further check of the store netted us nothing. The suspect had escaped. In the downtown crowds, it would have been almost impossible to try to find her on the streets. However, an additional broadcast carrying a complete description of the clothing she was wearing was gotten out to all cars in the area. The first good chance we'd had for apprehending her was gone. We had to go back to the legwork and the waiting. 3 months passed. During that time, Frank and I cleaned up a series of counterfeit payroll check cashings. Another 30 days went by without activity for the Little Mother. There were 4 new sales slips added to the file, but when the leads resulting from these were checked out, we were no closer to her than we'd been 6 years before. Thursday, December 17th, 12:55 p.m. I checked into the office.
Joe, that you?
Yeah. What do you got?
Oh, just talked to Skipper.
Yeah.
Got a couple of more beefs about the little mother.
When did they come in?
This morning.
Where are they?
Don Myers got them. He's checking the handwriting.
Well, how about the names she used?
Wait a minute. I got them here in my book. There they are. Mrs. Norris Farrow, Mrs. James Slagle, I guess it is, and Mrs. Ross Neiman. I called the stores and got the information on these people.
Did you talk to them?
Yeah. Asked all the routine stuff. None of them can think of any friends who match the description.
How about the things she charged? Anything there?
No. Usual items. Let's see. 2 pair of Levi's for kids. 1 child's cotton dress. There is one thing different.
What's that?
Well, I checked the sizes of the clothes. The last bunch of sales slips we had, the dresses were for a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
This time she bought them for a 12-year-old. Kids are getting bigger, Joe.
Well, that's a big help. All we got to do is look for a couple of kids that are growing.
Well, I was just trying to help, Joe.
No, I mean, there just doesn't seem to be anywhere to go. All the time we've put in, all the people we've talked to, all we got for it is a file drawer all to ourselves on the thing. I get it. Forgery Friday. Who? Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. I remember. Where is she now? I see. Yeah, we can be right over. Yes, ma'am. Bye. Bye. Oh, we got it.
What do you mean?
That was Mrs. Allen. Remember the sales lady over at Beckworth's?
Oh, yeah, I think I do. What'd she have to say?
Told me she's having lunch in a restaurant at the corner of Jackson and Hill.
Yeah?
Our suspect's sitting next to her. 1:02 p.m. We checked out of the office and drove over to the restaurant. It was located at the rear of a large drugstore. When we came into the place, Mrs. Allen met us at the entrance. She took us back down the counter and pointed out a small woman sitting on the last stool.
That's her.
You sure, ma'am?
I'm positive. That's her.
All right, let's go.
Yes.
You want to wait here, Miss Allen?
Certainly. Something you gentlemen want?
We're police officers, ma'am. We'd like to talk to you.
Police?
Yes, ma'am. You want to step over there to talk? Might be better.
Well, if you want to say anything to me, you can say it right here. I haven't done anything wrong.
What if we could see your identification?
Why?
Your identification, ma'am. Could we see it?
All right, just a minute. I've got it in my purse. Getting terrible. I don't know what you officers are trying to find out, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you can't prove you've got a reason for making me do this, you're in trouble.
We're not making you do anything, ma'am. We don't want to cause you any embarrassment.
A funny way of showing it. I want to tell you that my husband knows people in this town. When he hears about this... Oh, here you are. Here's my driver's license.
Would you take it out of your wallet, please?
Here.
Mrs. Evelyn Nelson?
And that's who I am.
This your present address?
No, it isn't. We moved a few months ago, but I haven't had a chance to have it changed. Is that all you want?
No, Miss Nelson, it isn't. I wonder if we could talk to you in our office.
Why? I always thought you had to arrest people before you could order them around.
We're asking you to come over to the City Hall with us, if you will, ma'am. There are a few things we'd like to check out.
What things?
Wonder if I could see what you've got in the bags here.
What are you looking for?
Do you mind if we took a look?
Well, there's just some clothes for my children. Nothing in there to interest you.
Well, then it wouldn't hurt if we looked, would it?
Go ahead. You won't find anything.
You want to take a couple of these, Frank?
Yeah, I got it.
Well, what about it? Did you find anything wrong? Maybe a gun?
No, ma'am, but I wonder if you could explain this.
What's that?
This charge slip here, signed by Mrs. Ross Neiman.
Well, certainly that was probably in the bag when I bought the things. I don't know anything about it.
All right, Miss Nelson. Afraid we're going to have to ask you to come with us.
On what charge?
Suspicion of forgery.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action. At cigarette dealers, in vending machines, at supermarkets and stores coast to coast.
Chesterfield, please.
Smokers by the thousands. Yes, smokers by the thousands are now changing to Chesterfield, the only cigarette ever to give you
1. Proof of low nicotine, highest quality. Chemical analyses of the country's 6 leading brands confirm that.
2. The only cigarette ever to give you this proven record with smokers. Again and again, over a full year and 1/2, a group of Chesterfield smokers have been given thorough medical examinations. The doctor's reports are a matter of record.
No adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfield.
A responsible independent research laboratory supervises this continuing program. Chesterfield, The only cigarette ever with a record like this. Chesterfield. Best for you.
We returned the suspect to the city hall for questioning. While Frank checked her name through the files, I tried to get her to talk. For 20 minutes, her attitude was one of surprise, and she answered the questions I put to her with indignance. Finally, she lapsed into silence and wouldn't reply at all to further interrogation. Frank came back from R&I with the information that there was no arrest record for Mrs. Nelson. We put out calls to the salesgirls who had waited on the little mother in the past and asked them to come down to the office to see if they could identify the suspect.
Yes, ma'am. Room 29. Yeah, come right in the First Street entrance, turn left into the police department. That's right, ma'am. There's an arch there. Go right through it. Straight down the hall and to the right. Well, it's the only way you can go. It's on the left as you go down the hall. That's right, 29. If you'll ask for Sergeant Friday or Officer Smith. No, ma'am, Smith. That's all right, ma'am. We'll expect you. Goodbye. I'll call the next one.
Yeah. You know, you'd save yourself and us a lot of trouble if you'd tell us the truth, Mrs. Nelson. Mrs. Nelson?
Hello, may I speak with Miss Brundage, please? In children's wear? Yes, ma'am, I will.
Hang up the phone.
Beg your pardon?
You don't have to go through this anymore.
All right, ma'am.
You want to tell us about it?
Mrs. Nelson?
I only did it for them, the kids. I didn't want to. How do you think I felt when I knew I was stealing? How do you think I felt?
You want to go ahead?
My husband, Paul's a good man. What he's done, he thinks is right. I can't quarrel with him. But he doesn't know. He doesn't understand. It isn't that he doesn't love the kids. He does. He really does. It's just that he doesn't understand. You can see that, can't you? He doesn't understand about them. Do either of you have a handkerchief? I came away this morning without one.
Yes, ma'am. Here you are.
Thanks.
Want to go ahead, please?
All his life he's worked. Put in long hours without a thought of what he was doing to himself. Every nickel he made was put away so he'd be able to feel secure, so he wouldn't have to worry about anything. It was all right when we first got married. I could understand it then. I went along with what he thought. But the last few years, it's gotten to be an obsession with him. The almighty dollar, that's all that seems important to him.
Now, what kind of work does your husband do, Mrs. Nelson?
He owns a grocery store. Small place, but it does good, makes a good living. Only we aren't living, we're existing. He gives me $10 a week to run the house and buy clothes for the kids. I've tried, Lord knows I've tried, budget meals, cheap cuts of meat, day-old bread. Any way you spend it, no matter how you figure, $10 just doesn't go very far.
Now, Mrs. Nelson, didn't you talk to your husband about it? Didn't you ask him for additional money for the expenses?
Yes, I'd ask him, and he'd tell me that I had to make do all the time, make do just a little longer until he had the money in the bank. Then we'd be all right. Only the more it went on, the worse it got. It didn't seem to make any difference how much money we had, how the total in the passbook went up. He wasn't satisfied. Had to be a little more, a little more. I guess I'm feeling sorry for myself, but you see, he could afford to buy the kids decent clothes, at least that. You agree with me, don't you?
Well, that's hard to say, ma'am.
Not for me. I'll never forget the day when my boy came home crying. He'd been fighting. One of the other boys at school had said something about the patches on his clothes. Just a little kid, that's all he was, ridiculed by his friends. That's when I made up my mind to do something about it.
Does your husband know anything about your activities?
No, nothing.
How'd you explain the new clothes for the youngster to him?
I didn't have to. Last year, he's been working so hard at the store, I hardly ever see him. The kids don't hardly know him. He even spends Sunday at the store dressing the windows.
You mean he spends all his time there?
Every minute he's not asleep. He let one clerk he had go so he could save the money. He always saved the money. It doesn't make any difference who gets hurt. Get that dollar and put it away. That's what counts. Put the dollar away. You know something, officer?
What's that, Miss Nelson?
I haven't been able to sit down and talk to my husband for 6 weeks. 6 weeks. He gets home at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. He's up and gone at 6:30. Kids are always asking when Daddy's coming home. How do you answer him? How do you make him understand? I can't. I've tried the only way I know how. And I did it so wrong.
All right, Miss Nelson. We'll try to work it out.
Can I use your phone? I've got to tell the children what to do about dinner.
I'll call for you if you like, ma'am. What's the number?
Hollywood 98844.
Where's your husband now, Miss Nelson?
At the store, I guess. You're going to call him?
I think we should, ma'am. Let him know what's happened.
I guess so. Somebody's got to take
Hello,
care of the
I'm
kids.
calling for Mrs. Nelson. I wonder if I could speak to her son. This is Sergeant Friday, Los Angeles Police Department. Who? Yes, no, she's down here now. Room 29. All right, fine.
Was that my boy? I wanted to talk to him.
No, ma'am, that was your husband. He's on his way down here. 2:14 p.m. Paul Nelson walked into the office. Frank and I took him and his wife to the interrogation room. She'd asked us while we waited for him if we'd let her talk to him for a few minutes alone. We stayed out in the hall, and after a brief wait, Paul Nelson opened the door and asked us to come into the room. His wife had evidently told him the full story because he was visibly shaken. He walked over to his wife and sat down beside her.
Well, I guess I've really done it, haven't I?
What do you mean, sir?
I've really ruined everything. My home, my kids, everything. All the time it was happening, I never knew it, never had an idea.
Don't blame yourself too much, Paul.
But I should have known. I should have seen it myself. Even when you tried to tell me, I was too busy to see it, too wrapped up with the business.
It wasn't for me, Paul. It was for the children.
It doesn't make any difference who it was for. I'm the one who caused it. I'm the one. It's my fault. I'm sorry, Evelyn. How can I ever make it up to you?
Don't think about that now, Paul. It won't do any good. What's been done can't be changed.
How about it, officer?
Sir?
What happens now?
Well, your wife is going to be given a preliminary hearing. She'll have the chance to plead guilty. If she does, the court will decide what to do.
What's the punishment for what she's done?
Well, according to Section 473 of the Penal Code, it's imprisonment in the state penitentiary for 1 to 14 years or for not more than a year in the county jail.
Is there any way out of it?
What do you mean?
Any way of getting Evelyn out of it? If I went to the judge and told him why she did it, if I told him it was my fault, would that make a difference?
I don't know. That'd be up to the court.
But I could try.
Yes, sir.
If I paid the money back for all the things she's taken, I can afford it. I could go to the stores and pay him. Maybe they'd feel different then, huh? I could make it up to him. Everything would be all right.
Well, it's been going on for 6 years, you know.
But if I did pay the stores back, it'd make it up to him, wouldn't it?
Maybe, but how about your wife?
What?
How are you going to make it up to her? "4:30 p.m. The suspect was released on a writ. The next afternoon, Frank and I met with Mr. and Mrs. Nelson and their attorney. We talked over the case. It seemed that the husband's change of heart was permanent. He swore that he'd never give his wife cause for unhappiness again. 2 weeks later, in Department 89 of the Superior Court, Mrs. Nelson entered a plea of guilty to 14 counts of forgery. When the court reviewed the circumstances and was informed that Mr. Nelson intended to make full restitution, the probation board recommended that Mrs. Nelson be placed on probation for 3 years. After the hearing, Frank and I had a brief talk with the couple. They thanked us for our consideration and understanding. Apparently, the cause of trouble between the Nelsons had been erased. Another 2 weeks went by. January 22nd, Frank and I got back from lunch and we checked into the office.
Here they are, dear.
Mr. Friday, Mr. Smith?
Ms. Nelson, Mr. Nelson, how are you?
Just fine, Sergeant. How are you two?
Fine, thank you very much, ma'am. What can we do for you?
That's what we want to do for you.
Sir?
You got the boxes, honey?
Yeah, here they are.
It's not much, but we thought that you'd like them. Made them ourselves to say thanks.
Look at that, Joe. Mm-hmm. That's not necessary, ma'am. You didn't have to do that.
No, we wanted to. Toll House cookies. Eve made a box for each of you. Real good. Lots of chocolate.
Well, that's very nice of you.
We just hope you'll enjoy them.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sure we will.
Yes, ma'am.
How are things going with you?
Oh, just fine. Paul and I have gotten everything straightened out. I help him out at the store now. That way he's got more time to spend with the kids. Things just couldn't be much better.
Well, we're glad to hear that.
It's a funny thing to say, Mr. Friday, but it's true. The best thing that ever happened to us.
What's that, Ms. Nelson?
My getting arrested.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 8th, a meeting was held in the county probationer's office in and for the county of Los Angeles, state of California. In a moment, the results of that meeting.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, we've been getting letters from people all over the country telling us that they've switched to Chesterfield. Just as I've been telling you, thousands of smokers are changing to Chesterfield because only Chesterfield gives proof of low nicotine, highest quality. That's why I recommend you try them today. Regular or king size, you'll find Chesterfield best for you.
At the end of 3 years, Mrs. Evelyn Margaret Nelson had fulfilled the requirements of her probation, and the case was officially marked closed. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Vic Rodman, Joyce McCluskey. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely new Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspaper for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Have you tried new cork-tipped Fatima? It's the smooth smoke. Here's why. New Fatima tips of perfect cork, king size for longer filtering, and Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. Remember, Fatima has the tip for your lips. Try new Fatima. See how smooth it is. Fatima is made by the makers of Chesterfield, Liggett and Myers, one of tobacco's most respected names.